Hey, what's up?
Nothing much, just listening to this study I found on NPR. It's really interesting.
Oh, really? What's it about?
Here, let me play some of it for you.
So Bill Gates is a doodler. Lyndon Johnson doodled. Ralph Waldo Emerson doodled. Ronald Reagan doodled. So clearly, doodling isn't such a bad thing. And to understand where the compulsion to doodle comes from, the first thing you need to do is look more closely at what happens to the brain when it becomes bored. The brain on boredom. Jackie Andrade is a professor of psychology at the University of Plymouth in the United Kingdom, and she says that most people's assumptions about boredom are wrong.
You might intuitively think that boredom's a time when we're very passive, we're not using any energy, we're just wishing things would get more interesting. But actually, if we look at people's brain function when they're bored, we find
pause
that...
it. How are they looking at a bored brain?
You know, you stick the person in one of those machines while they're bored. Or maybe they even stick them in there for so long that they get bored. I can't imagine being in one of those machines is very fun. Just keep listening and it starts to make more sense.
Basically, Andrade says, the brain is designed to constantly process information.
And if we're not getting information from our environment, you wouldn't want the brain just to switch off because a bear might walk up behind you and attack you. You need to be on the lookout for something happening.
So when brains lack sufficient stimulation, they essentially go on the prowl, scavenge for something to think about. And typically what they end up doing is manufacturing their own material. Which brings us back to the subject of doodling. According to Professor Andrade, who recently published a study on doodling, the function of doodling is to provide just enough cognitive stimulation during an otherwise boring task to prevent the mind from taking the more radical step of totally opting out and running off into fantastical...
Pause it! They used mind and brain interchangeably.
So what? It's one of those words. You know, like book bag and backpack.
The mind and the brain are two very different things. The brain is a tangible thing. You can eat a brain. A mind, on the other hand, is intangible. You can't eat it, touch it, taste it, nothing. It's not the type of thing that people usually think of when they think of a thing. Here, a word the study mentioned earlier, boredom. It's a thing, but it's not a thing you can see or touch. You can look at a person and tell they're bored, but how do they look at a bored brain? How do they know for sure that what they're seeing on the computer screen is the section of the brain that controls boredom and not something else? The mind is the same thing. It's not part of the brain.
Well, if it's not a real tangible thing, then how does it interact with your body?
Some people believe that it can't. You see, there's this thing called a causal chain. Let me explain it this way. Let's bring it back to the bear. If you see a bear, your eyes pick it up and send the information to the brain through neurons. Your brain sends the information to the legs through more neurons, which in turn cause the legs to move in the opposite direction of the bear. But that would mean that we don't have the capability of free will. So some people believe that the mind is a thing that has the ability to break the chain, and instead of neurons firing, the mind interprets the information and has a set of choices, whether to run, hide, or stand ground.
So there's no such thing as a mind?
I didn't say that at all. I'm just saying that your definition of what a mind is wrong. A mind is doing the right things at the right times in the right circumstances. Let me take it back to boredom. How do you know someone's bored just by looking at them?
I don't know. I guess it's just their facial expressions and their posture.
Okay, do you think someone would be bored if they were doing something like skydiving or running from a bear even if they had a bored facial expression or posture?
No.
Exactly. It has to do with the right thing, at the right time, at the right place, and in the right manner. The mind is the same way. It's a thing for sure, but it's not a thing like the brain is a thing. It's more a thing like boredom is a thing.
Philosophy is tricky.